Every preseason, the Ohio State coach Ryan Day says they're going to keep rotating receivers, and the last couple of years that has not been the case. They're going with a pretty much standard set of starters, and today we found out why, because we talked to Brian Hartline. This is Buckeye Talk coming to you from Ohio State football. Stephen Means, Doug Lesmerises, and I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com. And this is the first time we talked to Hartline during the season, and he got the question. Ohio State used to use a six-man rotation. Why not anymore? Brian Hartline said, why would you take these guys off the field, basically? Why would you take off the three of the best receivers in the country? So, Stephen, in your mind, does this end the six-man rotation talk at Ohio State?
Yes. They're going to keep recruiting the room at a high level, and if you're one of the best three guys, then you're going to play. And if you're not one of the best three guys, you're probably not going to play, which is, as they've recruited this room at a higher level, the talent in it has gotten better. Let's just go back to 2019 when they were still in that six-man rotation world where it was more five. They didn't rotate anybody with KJ Hill on the interior. He just got those snaps. And they only rotated on the outside because it was Austin Mack and Chris Olave, and that's pretty equal talent where Chris Olave was at that point in his career. Just the same with Garrett Wilson and Benjamin Victor. Pretty equal talent for where Garrett Wilson was in his career. Last year was weird. This year we're seeing it. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are two of the best wide receivers in the country, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is making a good case for why he's top 15, top 20. So you don't take those guys off the field, even if you do feel like the freshmen behind them, Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jaden Ballard are pretty good. They just have to wait their turn.
Doug, you were obviously covering this team when they were rotating guys that liberally, not that many years ago. It was really before Brian Hartline was a member of the staff, or maybe just as he was coming on at the tail end of that. So do you see this as like a philosophical difference in how Ohio State will use its receivers going forward?
Yeah, no, I think it is because your philosophy matters, right? The personnel does dictate a lot, but sometimes you can have a philosophy about things. But as Steven said, the idea that Hartline said, well, if the younger guys want to play, okay, when you get older, do you want me to take you off the field when you're older for a young guy who's not as good? And plus we have a responsibility to the whole rest of the offense to play the best guys. That was clearly established. And if they get back to a point where they have 4 or 5 equal guys, then I think they will rotate again. But it'll be based on, well, they're equal. They all deserve to play. But Brian Hartline said, this is what I always say about rotating. I want to rotate from strength, not weakness. He said sometimes if you have 6, that means you don't have 2. And it's like, well, yeah, but sometimes you guys philosophically have rotated at times, and I'd much rather have the 2, right? And this year it's the 3. They're not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Well, when you say you guys, as in Ohio State, you're right. Well, you didn't. When you say you guys, as in Ohio State, you're not really actually talking about Brian Hartline or even really Ryan Day, right? Because that philosophy does sort of precede them. This is something that has been a shift in the last couple of years.
Yeah. So, but again, we were trying to figure out, has it shifted? Is it new? Or are you doing the same thing that was done before? Now we figured it out.
I thought one of the revelatory things was Brian Hartline saying, I used to be one of those guys. I used to be the guy who was like a junior, senior receiver or a veteran receiver heading off to the NFL. And I think he knows the perspective of, why would I not be playing so you can give reps in important reps, like early game reps, to guys who aren't as good as me or guys who just happen to be younger, whatever. I thought that was an important thing that definitely factors into his philosophy. I do think, though, I'm not going to say they're never going to rotate 6 guys again, because there's a situation where they could get 6 guys, like you're saying, that are much more equated in talent. But it would make no sense for this team to be rotating 6 guys right now, and I've maintained that all along. And I said it before the season that I thought this team would still come in and all the targets would still go through the main guys. Although the one surprising thing has just been how much of it has still gone through Jackson Smith-Njigba relative to last year, it all being Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson.
I think the philosophical change is what they look for in wide receivers, but also the way Ryan Day does offense in comparison to what Urban Meyer did offensively. Obviously, you were a lot more of a blocker, basically, in the Urban Meyer days, and sometimes you would catch the ball. Well, now, yeah, you need to be able to block still, but you have to be able to catch the ball. And if you ask the people within this building, straight up, what's the most important thing that they're looking for in wide receiver recruits? Yes, there's all the, you got to be a good person, all that good stuff, but it's catch the ball. You have to be able to catch the ball. They have to be able to be explosive offensively. And if you have all this other, they don't care how fast you are, how strong you are, how high you can jump. If you can't catch the ball, you can't play. And if it doesn't feel like you're at that level from a reliability standpoint, then they can't put you on the field. And that plays a role too. Where the offense is now in comparison to where it was 4 or 5 years ago with Ryan Day versus Urban Meyer.
Yeah, hard to really criticize the way they did things back then because they won a lot of games and stuff. But I do think it's likely that if Michael Thomas were here now, he probably wouldn't get to the end of his career thinking, why did Michael Thomas get the ball more? That's just my assumption. Get the text 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 a month after that. Intel, analysis, etc. every day from Buckeye Talk.